Cooking with Kim.
Hello, everyone. I'm back again. I haven't been
Hey,
but it's lovely to be back. And I've got an assistant with me. Come here.
ooh,
I have
Hello again.
Yeah, I've got Carl assisting me. In a minute, we're going to find him a hat. So today we are making Eccles cake. And I don't know if you read what I wrote about them in Arts and Crafts Friday, but they are quite a local traditional cake. They come from a town or village called Eccles, which is near Manchester. So this is probably quite a popular cake, kind of around this area, Lancashire, Staffordshire. So I thought that might be quite nice. And we're going to be dealing with a different pastry today. If you've managed to buy puff pastry, which I have mine here, it's a different pastry to short crust pastry. It rises and it's flaky. So it's very difficult to make as well. So that's why we're using it ready-made. So that is different. We can work on a few other types of pastry at different times. So the first thing we're going to do is turn our oven on, and it's gas 7, 200 degrees centigrade, or fan 220. So gas 7, 200 centigrade. No, that's not right, is it? 220 centigrade and fan is 200. Fan is always lower than centigrade. So I hope you've got that. So stick it on about 200 and we should be all right. Right, I need to get a tray. Okay, so the first thing we are going to do is measure 110 grams of sugar into our scales. So 110 sugar. I don't like working with grams, as you know. I can see where the 200 is, but I'm blowed if I know where the 25 is. So I'm just going a little bit over the 100. And that goes in quite a fairly big saucepan, okay? I'm giving myself lots of room in this saucepan. So I'm pouring the sugar in. Keep the sugar handy because we need to sprinkle it on top of the cake when we're finished. So I'm putting the sugar to the side. I've now got my butter. And we are, oh, we've got a cup of milk. You want milk? I am now going to measure 25 grams of butter. I might need my assistant Mike here to work out where that is. So, Chef Mike.
Is that new pack, Nate?
Yes, I need. Okay, now visually it looks like that. All right, it's not a very big bit of butter. It was an 1/8 of a slab.
So what is that in grams? I'll calculate it for you in kilograms.
Right, I'm going to put the butter in the saucepan with the sugar, and then I'm going to melt them. So keep it on a very low heat. Gently melt the butter and the sugar together. Can you pass me a wooden spoon out the floor, please? A wooden spoon. That's it. Right, Carly's going to do my stirring. We are very light, gentle heat. Get the potatoes out the way. Okay, if you come over here. Lovely. Oh, big. Yeah. Right, I'm just getting Cole's hat on him because we have to be wearing hats in Kim's kitchen.
You mean house kitchen?
Yeah. So at the moment we're melting that sugar and that butter together.
It ain't no house kitchen, it's Tim's kitchen. She ain't that bad. She ain't as bad as Gordon Ramsay.
While they are melting, I'm okay. I've got someone helping stir. If you haven't got anyone helping you, you'll need to keep an eye on your butter as well as weighing. Don't let your butter burn. So I am going to now be measuring 225 grams of currant. That's about probably half a bag.
Which is 0.49604 pounds.
I know, it's ridiculous. Pounds and ounces are so much easier. Right, I am into the currant. I don't know if you've bought peel or if you might be adding a few cherries or even nuts. You could add a few of those. I'm going back to my goji berries because I've got them in the cupboard. So I am just adding some goji berries, which are a dry fruit anyway. Oh my God. Goji berries are good for you.
Kim,
Hello, William.
I had it done.
Well done.
Hey. Hello,
Do I get a
Superman.
clap?
A clap, yeah.
Well done, Will. Well done.
Well done.
Well
We're all
done, man.
supportive of you.
Are you
Well done.
pleased, Kim?
Yeah, I'm very pleased.
Now I can get on with my cooking.
Hey.
You studied without me, Kim, because I was having my vaccine.
Tell me when you're in the kitchen, William, and we'll start again with you, all right? I'm going to keep going with the others because they're at a different stage.
I'm going in the kitchen now, Kim.
Okay, I can't see your picture, so just, when you're there and you're ready to start.
Well, I'll keep an eye out as well.
Right, everybody that's with me, we're now also on top of our currant.
Kim started the cooking.
Okay.
I need some of it.
We're going to add a pinch of nutmeg. So a little pot like that. I'm going to sprinkle some on my.
Cooking, please.
Okay, I've got a pinch on top of my currant and my.
Cooking. What?
I'm going to check how Carl is getting on with the melting of the butter and sugar.
Muscle finish is tough.
Yeah, but it's okay at the moment. Nothing's going brown, nothing's burning. So. Yeah, we're still melting.
I've just muted Carl so I can eat properly.
So I kind of learn as I go along with yous, all right? I don't know if it's very melty at the moment. Ours looks like shoe pastry. But it may melt more as the sugar starts to melt in the butter. So I'm still keeping my eye on that bit. This is actually a really nice, quite a simple recipe if you buy the pastry. If you haven't bought the pastry, then puff pastry is a tricky one to make, and you have to make it, you know, in advance.
I made it before.
Yeah. If at some point anybody wants to learn pastry making from scratch, we can just do a session on making pastry. How are we doing? We keep it over the heat. Yeah, we've got ours on a very low heat, so we don't risk burning it.
Have a drink for this quickly.
Oh, I've lost my coat. Right.
No, it's okay. Here, a bath.
Yeah, that's lovely.
That was quick drink.
That was a very quick drink. Let's see if I've got any more clues. Melt the butter and sugar in a medium saucepan. That's all it says. Then we remove from the heat and we add our currant, peel or cherries or nuts, and the nutmeg. So I'm not removing it from the heat yet, but I might in a minute.
Kim, where am I putting the cherries? Where do the cherries got to go, Kim?
If you're doing cherries, it will be 25 grams, and I would chop them into quarters, maybe, or
Yeah, I
half.
mean, like, where do they need to go, Kim? Where do they need to go
They-
with the currants or separate?
They need to go in with your currant and your nutmeg. So that's all
Okay.
dry. This is all dry at the moment. I've got currant
Okay.
and say cherries. And
Okay, Kim, thank you.
when my butter and sugar is melted, then we're going to take it off the heat and we're going to stir in this mixture. And we'll be pouring the currant into the saucepan.
One thing, Mr. Wilson, you need a catchphrase when you're working with Kim in the kitchen. When Carl Baker was doing, he had a catchphrase, so you need a catchphrase.
Good. Right.
What land you said?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think this is going to mix anymore. So if you pop it on here,
I've done well.
you've done very well. Don't touch anything hot.
It's
Pop it on here. Right, okay. Whoops. And yeah. Ours has still ended up looking quite sugary.
Oh.
So here goes. I'm now pouring in the currant and the whatever else and the nutmeg. And I'm pouring it
I
in.
got the pastry.
We're going to do the pastry in a minute. Now
Have
this
a drink
gets
first.
stirred up. So mix all that sugar and butter around these currants. So they go kind of quite speckly. They're not wet. They're just kind of almost covered in a buttery sugar sort of, butter sugar.
Okay.
Hang on.
I'm getting a drink out here.
No more milk. No more milk. It's going to run out of milk.
Can I look for the tea, please?
This isn't the time really to drink it. Can
Okay.
you make it yourself?
I don't know. Wait.
Right.
No, I need a warm drink, you know. You like mate? Yeah, mate. Let's do this one.
Okay.
Let's do it.
Kim's kitchen is busy today.
Very busy.
Yes, I have mixed up. I've mixed up all of this together.
You froze again, Kim.
I'm just going to unfreeze myself. Lovely. Now we have our
Kim,
mixture all together here.
Kim,
Yes, Will.
we haven't started yet. What do you have to do?
Just wait for the kettle to boil because I can't hear myself think at the moment.
If you hang on a second, Will,
What?
if you hang on a second, when June does the sign language, I'll put you and Kim in a separate breakout room so you can because you can talk straight one to one. How's that sound?
Yeah.
Is that okay?
Is that all right, Kim?
I can't hear this end at the moment. Just give me a minute.
Is that all right, me and you in the breakout room?
No, well, no, because I can't do the others.
Kim,
Kim,
You're just have to catch up with us, Will. Have you got everything out? Have you got your sours out? Have you got sugar out? Have you got butter out? Currant? And you've got pastry out?
I've got a mixing bowl.
You don't need a mixing bowl, you need a saucepan.
No mixing bowl.
No, a saucepan today.
Yeah. A saucepan.
A saucepan, because we're melting the butter and sugar in a saucepan.
Any saucepan.
Well, a medium saucepan.
Medium.
I'll
That saucepan will do.
Right, everybody else, I've got some flour here, and I'm going to sprinkle where I'm going to be rolling. Okay, like we've done before when we've done pastry. This is probably
Is that saucepan okay, Kim?
pardon?
Yeah. Is that saucepan okay?
I can't see you, Will, because I can't switch the screen, you see. I'm going to just be looking one. No, you're just going to have to go with it. I'll show you the size of my saucepan. Right. A medium saucepan, okay? Something the size of that.
Oh, it's burnt.
What's burnt?
My sausage roll.
Oh my gosh.
Oh God. I think I need a new one. Can I get a new one out? Can I get a new one out?
Okay. Are you with us, Will? Where are you? Where have you got to?
I didn't know it got burned.
Now, my pastry is very well protected out of the plastic, and it's covered in like a greaseproof. I must have never used
Yeah.
it before. It looks like it's already rolled out, ready for use.
I just think it's cold or. So open the door for somebody.
Yeah. Your pastry may just be a slab. My pastry is already very handy. I expect that to happen. All right.
Me, because I want it warmed up.
And, now I'm going to see my pastry. Look at that, something Kim did earlier. Now you're going to want a cutter that is 4 inches. I managed to find the lid of a jar, and it's exactly 4 inches.
Sorry.
Quite a big.
Sorry.
You will get probably 8 to 10 ounces of it. So I'm gonna put some flour on top of my pastry.
Shane, what are you acting on? You sent for.
Can I put this microphone?
Andy,
Yeah.
So,
could you mute?
so this. Or you,
Thank you. Right. So
what do we put in this, Kim?
what will?
What do we put in this?
In what?
Do
In the saucepan.
you put
Okay.
some
Right.
oil in it?
Listen, Will, because have you got the recipe there that I put on Arts and Crafts?
He's looking for it now.
Okay, because it would be easier if you worked off the recipe. You're going to put in the sugar and the butter into the saucepan. It's 110 grams of sugar and 25 grams of butter. And you're going to put them together in a saucepan and melt them on a low heat so they don't burn.
Thanks to
How
put,
many grams of sugar?
how many grams?
110 grams of sugar. It's a little bit different to the recipe because they've kind of done it in a weird way, but just trust me on this. 110 grams of sugar, 25 grams of butter in the saucepan and gently melt.
So we'll get this milk and the butter out.
You don't need milk.
Do we need the butter?
You do need butter, yeah. You need 25 grams of butter. If you start melting that, I'll come back in a few minutes to tell you what to do with the currants. Right, everybody else, we have our pastry, and I'm going to cut 4-inch.
How many grams of butter was it again?
How many grams? What?
How many grams of butter was it? 3 grams.
Did it say on that list?
Right, that's fine.
Yeah.
How many grams?
Can somebody move to up, please? Because I can hear strange noises.
How many grams of what, Will?
Butter,
25.
25. Do we need another butter out?
No, it's so thick butter. It's really not much at all. It's if you've got a slab like I've got, then we're gonna get a baking tray like that.
Oh.
We're gonna grease it with butter. So my assistant is gonna do this for me. Right, just smear that butter all over the tray. Let me know.
Can somebody move to up? Because I think I can hear something.
Let me know when you've got your butter and sugar in a pan, Will. That's it, lots of butter. That's it.
I've got it.
Yeah,
I've got it as well.
yeah, all over. My assistant is greasing my tray as we speak. And I am gonna cut 10. They look like this. Okay. We're going to be getting as many as you can out of your pastry. I'm going to try for 10 because that's what the recipe said, but I'll get as many as I can. This is stuck to this horrible greaseproof paper, so I don't know how I'm going to get. I haven't worked with this before, and we had to just race out and get some, and it's stuck to the paper.
Oh.
Which is never a good thing, having pastry stuck to the paper. Right, that's rubbish. Let's try another one over here. That is beautiful. You've got in every corner.
Yeah.
Right.
I
have.
don't want this in the bin.
That can go in the bin. That's brilliant.
There's the bin.
Around here. because I've got a little bit of a problem with the type of pastry I've got, I'm going to get as many rounds, 4-inch rounds as I can. Then I might have to just screw all the pastry up and roll it out, which I think is what I'm going to have to do. It seems a good idea, but it's not, because I've let it go room temperature. It's just gone all sticky. No, it's not going to work.
It's gone all
Like this.
sticky and manky and it's rolling out.
Red. Right. Okay, we can overcome it. I hope you've all got. I hope you've got a disaster. I hope you've all bought a slab and not this posh one that's stuck to greaseproof paper. How are you doing, Will? I think Will's probably okay at the moment. Oh,
I'd
dear.
tell somebody to mute Will because I could hear strange noises.
Okay.
I muted him.
Thank you.
Can you unmute him, please? Because Kim want to ask him a question, Andy.
No. Will gets a bit noisy,
Okay.
so.
What I was saying earlier, Kim, was because he was a bit behind, is when we go to the signing with June, I was going to put you and Will in the breakout room so you can help talking through it one-to-one.
I know, but it
Getting up to speed, like sort of
can't keep doing breakout rooms when I'm doing this, Andy. It's just not fair on the people that were here at one.
Yeah, true.
And it's difficult for me to be trying to do one recipe in 2 bits. As you can see, I have major problems here with my pastry.
In that case, then my apologies, Kim. I didn't think of that.
So we're just having one.
I've got to chuck all that away because it's all stuck.
So we're not having no more days.
Yep, we are. We're going to roll. We're going to do it the old-fashioned way.
We're doing nothing.
Yeah.
Keeping the pastry.
If you pop that tin over there for a minute. Right, I am back with a blob of pastry, which I'm going to
Roll out.
try and get to roll together, but you shouldn't be doing this with puff pastry.
Oh dear.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
If you've not practiced, you see, you don't realise that you can get some. Do you know what? Whenever I say it's an easy recipe, it always ends up hard. So I'm going to put the flour on the top. I'm going to get my rolling pin. And I'm going to roll the pastry. It's meant to be about, I think, 1/4 of an inch deep. Mine was already rolled, but as you can see, it's stuck. This is how I would have preferred to have done it, because then I could have done the rolling with you. But I hope you've got support there, that your support, or you already know how to roll pastry. But for those of you watching, I'm turning it. I've got flour on the pastry, so my rolling pin doesn't stick. And I'm rolling it out, a little bit firm, but not too firm, because I don't want to break my pastry. And then I'm twisting it again, giving it a gentle roll until I'm happy that it's about 1/4 of an inch deep. Now I'm going to go back to the cutting. I've already got 2. So this is my number 3. That's better. Look at that.
Perfect.
Perfect. Number 4.
Better.
Perfect.
Number 5. Easy peasy now.
Lemon squeezes.
We can do it, can't we?
Very good. Being serious.
Yes. What number was that? 2, 1, 2, 3, 4,
6.
5. This is number 6.
Can you do room for 7?
I'm
Yes,
gonna
you
get-
can.
Number 7 from that.
The last one.
Well, no, we're going to put the pastry together again because we don't want any leftovers. So all my scraps, I'm bringing them together and I'm rolling them out again. Remember, a little bit of flour on your pin
Because the aim is to try and get 10 out of it, isn't it?
and on your pastry. And this is what you would do this anyway, because you always get some leftovers. And you can always squeeze 1 more, 2 more pies or cakes out, pastries. This is more a pastry than a cake because it's made of pastry, but it's kind of served as if it's a cake. Right, so I've rolled my scraps out and I'm going to get number 8. Yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. This is number 8. I can easily get number 9. I am going to personally, even though a lot of mine was wasted, I am going to get 10 out of mine.
That's good.
Yeah, I've just brought the last few bits of scraps together. See, just that one little bit, and I'm just going to carefully try and roll it into a round shape to get that last.
Please just come in. And Steve as well.
I shouldn't have any waste. Just be careful it doesn't keep dipping in the flour. So just keep dipping your hands into the flour. Make sure there's flour underneath your pastry so it's sticking to your board. And I'm getting my number 10 out, and I've hardly got any waste. I've got 2 little teensy bits of waste, which is really very good.
Oh,
Now, next thing we're going to do, I've got my pieces of pastry all in front of me, and I'm going to ask Carl to do this, but I'm just going to show you the first one. Yeah.
come back.
Watch what I'm doing, Carl. I've got and I've got some water, and I'm just going to paint around the edge of this circle. So just paint it. You don't need to do in the middle, just around the edge where we're going to get it to stick. So I'm going to do a couple, and then Carl is going to take over. There we are. If you would like to do the rest of them.
Well, grease the oven should be on, Kim.
The temperature of the oven,
Gas 7, shut 7, that's
Yeah.
why.
gas 7, it's 200-degree fan or 220 centigrade. So 7, 200 or 220. It's quite a hot oven. It's a very hot oven because the cakes are going to cook in 15 minutes. So it's a very hot oven and a quick.
My butter's melted, Kim. What's next?
Next you need to measure out your 225 grams of currant.
Currants.
You can do it, Will.
Yeah.
Is them going in the pan?
Not in a minute, but keep them in your scales at the moment. So just measure your 225 currant, keep them in the scales.
220.
220, Kim.
225.
What did you say? 220?
225.
225.
And then you're going to either have some cherries or some nuts or some candied peel, or if you've not got any of them, maybe some sultanas, and just
What's
put
that?
Cherries.
We got cherries.
lovely. Carly's doing a very good job of painting around the edges of the pastry.
Kim, we got cherries.
Cherries is lovely. You need 25 grams of cherries.
That's to give it some flavour.
It's just to add a little bit of colour when you bite into it, yeah. If you like, you can cut the cherries into half or into quarters
Or just put them in as normal?
Measure it with your currant.
Can
So
you-
altogether, you should have 250. And that's the currant and the cherries.
Oh, me, turn on. When this?
Give me your frozen again, love.
Hour.
Oh,
Hour.
let's do that.
My
You let the letter.
Right. Once you've got your currants and your cherries, put a pinch of nutmeg. I'm going back to what you're doing at the moment. This is what it looks like.
That's what it looks like.
Yeah, because you put all of the currants in the butter and sugar and stir it.
25.
It looks like sugary fruit. I'm going to add, I didn't put this in the recipe, but if you ever made it again, you can put a pinch of brandy. So I'm just putting a splash of brandy into mine. And stirring that in. Once you
25.
Will,
And how many of the cranberries?
How many?
How many cranberries? How many grams?
How many? How many grams of the cherries?
25.
25.
Right, for everybody else, we've wetted around the edge of the pastry. I put some of the fruit mixture in the middle. I'm just experimenting with this one because I've put a fair bit. What you need to do is pull the sides of the pastry up. Because they're wet, they'll stick.
Let me have to start mixing now.
So I'm just doing this. You can either watch me doing it. I put just about the right amount of fruit in there. Because what we don't want is the fruit bursting through the pastry. So we've got
What do
basically,
we do with the pastry now, Kim?
yes, if you roll your pastry out now, Will, on a nice floured board.
We've got a white chopping board.
Yeah, roll it to 1/4 of an inch thick. And then when you've done that, you want to cut 4-inch rounds out. So they look like this, Will.
Like a circle.
Yeah, they're 4 inches across the middle. Now, for everybody else, I've just joined all the pastry around the fruit, and then I'm going to turn it over and pop it on here. So it's like a sweet little patty.
Can you have custard with these, Kim?
Yes, Will? What?
Kim,
Yes,
can you have these with custard?
yes, yes, you can use it as a pudding because it's pastry.
You can put it.
You can have it as a cake or a snack. And I should think they're lovely with pastry. When they're finished, you're going to recognise what they are. So again, I've very carefully drawn all the pastry together and pinched it so it sticks together. That's why we put the water on it, so it sticks. Then turn it over. So all the joined bits are underneath. See, that's why I wanted us to concentrate on the making and not the pastry, because there's quite a lot of skills that you're learning. A little bit fiddly, but I'm sure you can do it because you're a clever lot. If it doesn't stick brilliant, just add a bit more water. The water makes it stick. Again, I pushed it all together, turned it over, and I've got my patty. I'm really trying as best as I can to put
I
as
did
much
put that on pause because I couldn't hear anything.
there as possible.
See you in a bit.
Close it.
Sorry.
Managing just
Sorry, Dennis.
turn it over. Keep making sure that your board is floured so your patty doesn't stick to the board.
Me, I want to go for a drive. No, I want to go out for fresh air.
I'm hoping you're getting off the time to do.
Do you want to go for a drive, Will?
What about my bike?
After baking, so that they can wait in it.
Yeah, I'll go for a drive up the bike.
Are you all managing to do this where you pleat it all in the middle? I think it gets easier the more you've done. You get a bit better. Again, put some more water if it's not sticking properly. Then over. Right, I've got 4 more to do. I don't know about you, but I'm going to have a load of ingredients over, which is a shame. I copied the recipe and we didn't need half this amount of currant. And we couldn't have made 4 inches any bigger than 4
My
inches.
brother's making some posts today for me.
Okay.
There's another one. I got 3 more to do.
Yep.
Oh, so I got your name right.
No.
Is it pronounced?
Everina.
Evrina.
Everina.
Evrina.
Everina.
Evrina.
Mark, Andy,
E-R-E-N-A.
Yeah, on it.
would you?
Awesome. Newton.
Thank you.
See if it was doing.
Right. I'm on the last 2. I'm trying not to rush them because I don't want to spoil the last one. Are you learning something,
Yeah.
Carl? That's good. And again, I'm just putting a little bit of flour on here because I really don't want them to stick. And that was my raggedy one because I had one at the end that was a bit raggedy.
Hang on. Kim?
We're going to have to try and think of something else.
Kim?
Yes, William?
Do you have to put the nutmeg in with the things?
With the currants and cherries.
Yeah,
Right, now everybody else,
we put that
you
in.
should have your patties. Now you get your rolling pin again, and one by one, gently just roll the top of your patty.
Oh, God.
You're pressing it down just a little bit. With
Why
mine,
isn't it?
stick the fruit a little bit more. So what we're basically doing is
Are they okay though?
Well, I don't know.
it's not much of a press, it's just that little bit of a press to flatten them. So gentle fingers, you can possibly see the fruit a little bit more coming through. starting to look more like
I
eggy.
think if I did that today, they would be quite
Leave it.
squashed.
Yeah, we're washing. If you can see, it's just made it a little bit flatter. So I've done that. And then you need to get scissors.
We're using a cup, Kim.
Yeah, that's good. A 4-inch cup is good. It needs to be 4 inches because it's very fiddly getting the fruit in the middle. Get your scissors. And what we're doing is cutting a little cut in the cake. So you can do like a little snip, like a little arrow. So can you see what I've done there? Yeah, that lets the air out. All right, it's just a little snip. So we're going to do that to each one. And if you ever look at an Eccles cake in a shop, you'll see that they've got this little snip. So
Can you get these in socks, Kim?
you can.
Is this a 4-inch cup? I don't even know.
Right, once you've done that, we are going to wet the top. You don't need eggs. Well, my recipe says water, so I'm following my recipe. So wet the top of each one.
Ask me, do you hear? I haven't managed to.
With mine. I got it Monday night.
What did you pay for it?
3 brushes. Good.
Huh?
Brush.
That's the price.
Andy, can you mute him again, please?
That's better. I'm using a pastry brush to just brush them gently because you've got control. You could use your fingers. If you haven't got a pastry brush, you could easily dip your fingers in and smooth it on. I'm quite a lover of using my fingers, but it looks nice if you use a pastry brush. Now, the last thing we're going to do is go back to the sugar, and we're going to get some sugar. Now, you can do this with your hand or a spoon. It's my sugar, so my hand's in the bag, doesn't matter. And I'm sprinkling the top of the Eccles cake with sugar. Put quite a lot on because they're quite famous for having the sugar on the top. You could use brown sugar if you wanted to. I'm using the granulated because I've got it out. I'm actually using caster, but you can use granulated, golden caster. You can use brown sugar, one beginning with M. Right, and then I am going to transfer them on to the baking tray. So I've got a little spatula, little baby one, and I'm just gonna gently take it from the floured board to the baking tray that Carl greased for me. Try not to mess the bottom of them up where you've got the with your dip. So we're doing it quite carefully. Again, put your spatula in flour because flour stops things sticking. There we go. Right. And hopefully you have got to that point where you've snipped them, you've turned them all over, you've rolled them, you've done a little snip, you've put water on the top and you've put sugar on the top. And now I'm putting them in the oven for 15 minutes. And I'm going to say, good luck, Kim. Okay? Oh, yeah. Praise the Lord. They come out okay.
Good luck, Kim.
Yeah. So that will be 3:15. If anyone's gone in at the same time as me, it's 3:15. But time your own if you need to time it and it's a different time.
Did you say an hour and a quarter?
No, just 15 minutes.
That's 2:15.
Oh, so you mean 2:02?
Oh, okay, yeah. Sorry.
Wrong. No,
Just-
Kim.
Yeah, I looked at the clock and completely,
Mike.
thank you for correcting me. Mike.
That's right. And this week we will be mostly making charcoal. Right, yeah. Should we pass over to June then for 1/4 of an hour just to do a little bit of